I've been creating AI videos professionally for years now, and I've tested every tool, workflow, and every shortcut that the internet has to offer. And what I saw is that 90% of people learning AI video right now are completely wasting their time on skills that don't actually matter. They lack the crucial fundamentals on which AI video stands. They're copying random prompts from Twitter or X and wondering why their videos don't even look a fraction as good. The people who are actually getting good consistent results have figured out something else. They've nailed 5 core skills that everything else depends on. In this video, I'm going to break down each one of those 5 skills, explaining exactly how to master them, and by the end of this video, you will have the full essential suite of AI video skills. Crucially, if you skip even one of these foundations, you're basically going to throw away another year chasing someone else's results without ever catching up. Skill number 1 is AI foundations. This first skill is absolutely crucial and is the one that most people skip. The reason is simple. Most people are chasing the shiny stuff, the glorified techniques, the viral prompts, and all the secret tools. But most of the time, the problem isn't the tool you're using, it's that you skip the foundations. Think about it like building a house. You can obsess over building the best looking one, but if you're building all of that on top of sand, none of it matters. Eventually, the whole thing crumbles. And that's exactly what happens when people jump straight into AI video without understanding how it actually works. Every single AI video you've ever seen online is made using one of 2 methods. The first is text to video. This one is exactly what it sounds like. You describe what you want in words, and the AI generates a video from scratch. It's fast, simple, and honestly, it's what I recommend most beginners start with because the barrier to entry is so low. If you want to use text to video in the best way possible, you're going to want to stick around for skill number 2, where I dig a lot deeper into that. But even though text to video is simple to learn and genuinely powerful, most beginners eventually hit a wall. When you rely only on text, you're handing full creative control over to the AI. Sometimes that's great, but other times, the AI interprets your words completely differently than what you ever imagined. That's where image to video comes in. It flips the problem on its head. Instead of starting with words, you start with a picture. The AI takes that image and brings it to life, animating it into motion. This is the method I personally use for almost everything, and it's the method most professionals rely on when they need their videos to look a specific way. Now within image to video, there's an even more powerful feature that separates the average creators from people who can make seamless cinematic content. It's called the N-frame. A specific set of models, which you'll learn more about in skill number 3, allow you to upload 2 images at a time, one for how the video starts and one for how it ends. The AI then fills in everything in between. You can generate a shot of someone standing completely still, set an end frame where they're holding up an object, and the AI will smoothly animate that entire movement for you. You can even chain these clips together using the end frame of one clip as the starting frame for the next. The result you get is a perfectly seamless video. But most importantly, a video where you have full creative control. This single technique is what allows people to create those long, continuous AI videos that look impossibly smooth. Now, knowing how AI video works is only the first piece, because once you understand those building blocks, you're going to run straight into the next wall. How do you actually tell the AI what you want? Skill 2, prompt engineering. This skill is absolutely crucial if you are going to be using text to video. And if you've spent any time online looking into AI video, you've probably seen hundreds of posts and YouTube videos about the perfect prompt. But honestly, most of that information is just garbage. The only thing you need to craft a good prompt is to have a clear structure. And to make this as easy as possible for you to begin, I'm going to give you 3 different prompting frameworks that cover basically every type of AI video you will ever want to make. There's one core thing you need to understand. These frameworks are not all made for all models. You're going to have to be smart about picking which framework you use based on the specific model you're working with. And models are something we'll cover in a lot more depth in skill number 3. But for now, let's start with the first framework, the SALT method. This one is perfect if you're just getting started because it's the simplest one to write with. To make this super easy for you to understand, let me actually write a prompt with you following this structure. First off, we have to start with a subject. Who or what is in the frame? I'm going to write a close-up macro shot of a honeybee. The honeybee, in this case, is our subject. Next up, we have to explain the action. What is the subject doing? And this part is crucial for video because without clear action, you're basically just creating a moving photograph. I'm gonna write, landing on a dew-covered purple lavender flower. The flower sways gently in the breeze under the weight of the bee. Next, we have to describe the location. This one is really simple. I'm gonna write, The background is a soft green garden bokeh, so the location in this case is a flower garden. And finally, we have to set the tone or give any technical information. For this, I'm going to write natural morning light, crisp focus, 8K resolution, which basically tells the AI we want high quality output. Now this is a perfect structure for any type of cheap and low cost model. But if you want to use something a little more professional, like models from Google, you're going to want to use the second framework, the camera first approach. This structure is for when you want a lot more control over how the shot actually moves, and that control is crucial if you're paying a high dollar per generation. The camera first approach has a pretty simple structure, so let's go ahead and write a prompt for that as well. I'm going to start with a slow zoom out revealing a dinner plate made of melting colorful wax. Here we're doing two things at once. We're setting the camera movement and adding a bit of the scene description, but we can expand it and write, the wax melts and drips off the table. Now we have to add the transition or a change that will happen in the video. In this case, transforming into a waterfall of multicolored paint. Finally, we just need to add the aesthetics to this video. So I'll write studio lighting, neutral background, hyper realistic texture, satisfying physics. This is the absolute best prompt recipe if you're trying to create something really high-end and aesthetic. But there's still one powerful framework I haven't taught you yet, the narrative beat method. This is the structure for when you want your video to feel like a scene from a movie. Instead of describing a static image, you're describing a micro story with a clear beginning, middle, and end. I'll start with the opening state, a dusty leather-bound book sitting on a wooden desk. Then I'll add the trigger, an invisible hand opens the book. Then the reaction, instead of pages, a flock of tiny glowing origami birds flies out from the spine and swirls up toward the ceiling. And finally, the atmosphere, magical realism, warm candlelight, dust motes dancing in the air, 85mm lens. These three frameworks will cover the vast majority of AI videos you will ever want to create. But I also know that sitting down and structuring every single prompt from scratch can feel like a lot. So I built something that makes it a ton easier. It's a custom GPT that you'll find in the link down below called Prompt Architect. All you have to do is give it two things. First, tell it which model you're using, and second, give it a brief idea of what you want the video to be.
Hey humans, if you're watching this from Earth, don't forget to subscribe for more intergalactic videos. See you across the universe.
But here's the next question you're probably asking yourself right now. How do I even know which model to use in the first place? Because different models have wildly different strengths, and picking the wrong one can completely ruin your results. And that brings us to skill number 3, AI video models. AI video models are extremely complex technology with a ton of technical details. But the good news is that you don't need to know any of that. You just need a straightforward understanding of which models to use and when. And the easiest way I've found to think about this is to break it down into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the high cost and high result models. These are the models you use when quality is everything, and you don't mind paying premium prices. The top models I currently recommend in this tier are Google Veo 3.1 and Sora 2 Pro. These are by far the best models available right now. Google Veo 3.1 is the absolute best for camera control, which makes it perfect if you're using that camera first approach I just taught you. And Sora 2 Pro is the best for raw realism. If you want something that looks indistinguishable from real footage, this is your go-to. Tier 2 are the mid-range models. These are models that sit in between spaces. They're not as expensive as the top tier, but they still produce really solid results. In this range, you can use the normal Sora model and the Veo 3 or Veo 3.1 fast versions, which sit at the higher end of this midsection. You can also use models like Wan and Hilo. Both of them produce really good results, and most of them even have built-in audio generation. Tier 3 are the budget models. Finally, you have the cheap models. These honestly don't produce the best results, but they're fast and affordable, which makes them perfect for testing ideas before you commit to a more expensive generation. Some of the models in this tier are Seedance and the LTX model, which is actually pretty decent if you're designing something for ads. But most importantly, you have the Kling model. Now, Kling is an anomaly. It's an extremely cheap model, but it produces really good results for the price. We're actually going to test some of these out in just a second. But before we do that, you're probably already counting all of it up in your head and wondering how much all of that is going to cost. To be honest, it would be a lot. $621.63 to be exact. But there's a workaround in the AI video world that saves you money, time, and your sanity. It's called an all-in-one platform. An all-in-one platform is literally an AI website that incorporates multiple AI models, usually almost all the best ones, into a single interface. You can use whichever model you want, whenever you want, without juggling a dozen different subscriptions. There are a couple of caveats to this. Most of these all-in-one platforms have incredibly high pricing, and a lot of the time, it's actually more expensive to use them than to just purchase the models individually. On top of that, most of them are overcluttered and really hard to work in, and some of them just don't update themselves. They're stuck on models that were popular 3 months ago, which in the AI world is basically 10 years. But there is one all-in-one platform that I've been using consistently for over a year, and I've never had a single problem with it. It's called OpenArt. OpenArt is by far the best all-in-one platform I've found. It has everything you'd ever want, like every major model, an easy-to-use interface, and tons of other tools that help you whether you're a complete beginner or an advanced creator. So for the next part, let's actually jump inside OpenArt, and I'm going to show you exactly how this works. When you first open OpenArt, you want to head over to the video section on the left side. This opens up the main interface, and at the top, you can select from all the popular models you would ever need. For this first example, I'm going to use Google Veo 3. This opens up a settings window where we can dial in exactly what we want. I'm going to select the 3.1 version because it's the newest one. I'll make sure the audio is turned on, and I'll set all the other settings to the highest available. Now let me just copy and paste our camera first approach prompt from earlier. It looks absolutely amazing, and we generated it in about 30 seconds. This is exactly why I love using OpenArt so much. Everything I've shown you so far has been based on text prompts alone, and text prompts can get you really far. But if you remember from skill 1, the method that gives you the most control over your AI videos isn't text to video, it's image to video. And to use image to video properly, you need to know how to create the right images in the first place. Skill 4. AI image gen. Luckily for you, subconsciously, you've already learned absolutely everything you need to create really high-end AI images. Let me show you exactly what I mean. If you go ahead and jump over to the image section here on the left in OpenArt, this will bring up a new workflow with image generation instead of video. Now, in the model selection, we could go really deep into whatever image model you need to use. But honestly, I'd recommend you stick to just 3 different models. First, you have Seedream 4.5, which is an incredible high-end model that allows you to both edit and create images. Then you have Flux Pro, which is by far the best model out of the Flux suite, and it allows you to create some really good high-end results. And finally, you have my personal favorite and by far the best AI image generator out there, and that's the Nano Banana Pro model. This is the one we're going to be using right now. Now, once we have our model selected, the prompting here is much simpler, and you already know all of those foundations. The key thing I personally like the most about prompting with Nano Banana is that you can be super conversational. So I'm just going to go ahead and write a front-end shot of Darth Vader steering some kind of huge Star Wars ship. He's standing alone in a huge cockpit room, as easily as that. I'm just going to go ahead and select 4K for the resolution so we're getting the best quality image. I'll select 16:9 for the output size and just go ahead and create 2 images. And here they are. Both of them are looking really good, but let's expand on this. For the next image, I'm going to go ahead and write a closer up shot of Darth Vader's torso and his mask. The shot is a bit towards the side. His hands are on the mask as if he's about to take it off. Everything else, the room, the environment, remains unchanged. I'm going to go ahead and link my previous image using the history feature, and here's the next result. It looks amazing. For this next one, I'm actually going to reveal who Darth Vader is under the mask. I'm going to go ahead and import the last image from the previous generation we've made and the next image of Leonardo DiCaprio. Then I'm going to go ahead and write this. Darth Vader removing his mask to reveal that under the mask, there's actually a person from image 2, which is Leonardo DiCaprio. He's also holding up a finger towards his mouth, as if he's doing this movement, trying to hide that he's actually Leonardo DiCaprio. And here's the final result. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're actually going to be using all of those images to create a video using the image to video feature. So let's go ahead and download all of the images, head over to video, jump over to image to video, and go ahead and select one of the models that have the end frame tag on them. I recommend going with Kling 2.6 because it's just the best one in terms of result. For the start frame, I'm going to upload the first shot of a general overview of the cockpit. And for the end frame, I'm going to go ahead and upload the slightly closer up shot. And then I'm going to write, Darth Vader is steering the ship. Then he walks slowly towards the camera and puts his hands on the helmet as if he's about to take it off. Now before we click create, I hope you noticed what we just did. You basically just write the A of the salt method. You just describe motion. You don't actually have to do anything else, which makes this way of creating videos actually the easier one. But most of the time, just because it's a lot more complex and includes a lot more things in it, like generating images and knowing the models to use, I usually recommend beginners to begin with the text-based generation because that one is easier to grasp off the get-go. But with that being said, let's go ahead and create the first shot. And there you have it. It looks absolutely amazing. The movement and everything in this is spot on. So with that settled, let's go ahead and jump over to our generator again. I'll click on this button right here to move our previous end frame to be the beginning. Then we're going to go ahead and add the next image and write Darth Vader removes his mask to reveal his identity behind the mask. And then I'm just going to keep all the settings as they are, click create, and here's the next result. Again, it looks really good. But let's take it a step further. I'm going to go ahead and click on this button right here, and I'm going to remove the end frame just so that the AI can freely interpret how it'll end. And then I'm going to go ahead and write, the person removes his hand from his mouth and says, don't tell anyone, okay? Then I'll go ahead and create, and here's the result.
Don't tell anyone, okay?
It looks nice, but there's one problem though. The voice is not good. And with most of those models, you'll find that the voice is actually not as good. Which brings me to the next skill, learning how to do AI audio. Now this next skill is the one that'll truly set you apart from everyone else. This is the skill that gets you over the learning curve because of how huge the quality increase is when you use custom-made audio for whatever video you make.
Welcome back to the evening update. We are pleased to report that the city protocols are proceeding smoothly.
Most AI-generated voices sound robotic, flat, or just off. But when you know how to dial in the right settings, you can create voiceovers that sound genuinely human. So let's jump over to the audio tab in OpenArt. Here we can go ahead and write whatever we want the AI to say. Now, if you remember from the previous video we made, our last line was don't tell anyone, okay? So for this one, let's write something that follows up on that. I'm gonna go with, am I getting an Oscar for this one? Next up, you can select the voice. You can sort it by accent, which I'll go with American. Gender, I'll select male. Age, I'm going to go with middle-aged. And finally, you have the use case filter, but I'll just go ahead and pick someone out of this list. I'm going with this one right here. I feel like it fits our theme the best. Now let's dial in the settings. First, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the speed, which basically controls how fast the AI speaks. Then I'm going to lower the stability. This controls how consistent the voice sounds between generations. Lowering it adds a bit more natural variation, which makes it feel less robotic. Next is similarity, which controls how closely each generation adheres to the original voice sample. If you want consistent results across multiple clips, you keep this higher. And finally, you have style exaggeration, which adds a little bit of that natural feel and personality to the voice. I'm gonna bump it up to 0.4. Now I'll click create and let's take a listen.
Am I getting an Oscar for this one?
It sounds really nice. And there's one extra thing I want you to know about. It's the AI voice reference feature, where you can actually upload your own voice and train the AI on your specific sound. This means you can create a voice clone of yourself and use it for all your videos, which is incredibly powerful if you're building a personal brand or just want consistency across your content. But with that being said, let's go ahead and head back over to video. I'll click on lip sync video, then select our previous video that we made of Leonardo DiCaprio as Darth Vader. Then I'll upload our audio sound and click create. And here's the result.
Am I getting an Oscar for this one?
It came out looking really nice. And if you combine this skill with an end frame skill from earlier, you get a video that looks like this.
Am I getting an Oscar for this one?
There's literally no way of noticing any transitions in between the clips, and adding that natural, more human sounding voice just brings this whole aesthetic together. Knowing those 5 essential skills will save you months of trial and error, but if you don't actually put this into practice, there is literally no point in you knowing it. So if you want to take these skills and actually use them, go sign up for OpenArt. It is by far the best platform I've found to get this done without the headache. I've left a link for you right at the top of the description. Go ahead and sign up, and I'll see you in the next one.